Hi everyone, we'll just give a couple minutes for everyone to join, and then we'll be joined by our speakers, and we'll start the webinar in about 2 or 3 minutes. Okay. Everyone. Okay, we'll be joined by our speakers very shortly, and so I'll get us underway. So hello everyone and welcome. My name's Alex Harris. I'm the VP of Marketing at Valutico. I'm thrilled to be your host today for what I believe is one of the most exciting topics out there, which is AI, but in particular AI in business valuations. So we have a packed 30 minutes ahead. We're going to try and cover it all in that 30-minute slot, but we might go over. So please stick with us if we do. Let's get straight into it, actually. So if we could move into the next slide. So, okay. So AI in business valuations. AI is already transforming industries. This webinar will explore what's changing, how much is it changing, and what do you need to do about it. So I'm incredibly excited to introduce our 3 speakers today. So thank you very much for joining. We have Paul Resch, our CEO and co-founder, Alex Lachinger, our CRO and co-founder, and I'm also personally very excited to welcome Max Arrich, our VP of AI Research and founder of Paraloq, a recent Valutico acquisition. Max is our leading AI expert with years of experience, and we're delighted to have him with us today. So if we move through to the next slide, I'll give you a quick intro into what we're going to cover. Okay, so there's 5 parts of the webinar. First, Paul will provide a brief introduction to Valutico for new attendees. Then we'll tackle the question, which parts of the AI hype are parts that you should pay attention to, and which parts don't matter, and which parts do you need to start taking actions to right now. Part 3, we'll discuss Valutico's acquisition of Paraloq and the next 12 to 24 months of AI in business valuations. And then part 4 will be our predictions for what's coming next in AI, covering AI agents, the new ways data will be used, and much more. And then finally, we'll have a quick live case study demonstrating how a recent AI tool is already revolutionizing certain roles. Okay, so let's get started. Okay, so now as a thank you for attending this webinar, everyone who's on this webinar right now will get 2 weeks of access to a new AI M&A tool called Done Diligence. You'll get an email for your setup session. Just check your inbox after the webinar. 2 weeks to try out a new AI tool. So 2 weeks after you've had your setup session, and then you can see how it affects your workflow over that time and try this technology firsthand. So emails coming shortly. Okay, questions and answers. So throughout the webinar, please just type your questions in. AI is a big, deep topic. We're really interested in what you think about it and your questions on all sorts of different areas. So please type in. There's a little box that you can access and type your questions, and we'll try and answer them as we go throughout the webinar. Okay, so that's it from me and for my introduction, and I'll pass you over to Paul to give an introduction to Valutico first before we dive into the AI topic.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, Alex, for the great introduction as usual. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining today's session. Just a few brief words about Valutico itself. So if you had asked me 2 years ago what Valutico does, I would have told you we provide valuation technology. Now, there's a lot more by now. We really integrated along the sort of M&A or investment research value chain. So today we can help you with company analysis in general, and that includes due diligence. That's what we're going to talk about today also, but also the more familiar modules such as our forecasting module, our valuation module. That's what most of you use, or our ESG module. Yeah, we're a fairly global company already. We have been from the get-go. We work with around 800 clients in 90 plus countries today, a team of 75 team members, also, around the world. So we really believe in being where you are, where our clients are. And yeah, that next slide, please. Thank you. What I also like to emphasize is that we like to work with clients both big and small. We set out to democratize the valuation process. We, specifically, built Valutico to level the playing field in valuations, right? Valuation is complex. You have lots of requirements, on the data side, on the process side. And with Valutico, we help, the small guys compete with the big ones, but we also help the big ones, become even better at what they do. And some examples were there. You saw many large banks, 2 out of the big 4, probably 17 or so out of the top 20 professional service networks, and many of the large global M&A networks. Yeah, just as a reminder, this is a quick overview of our product suite. I've already mentioned valuation and forecasting. I've mentioned ESG. For those of you who work, in transaction advisory, we have a brilliant lead generation tool that can also help you win more business. Due diligence, I won't talk about it much because we have a separate section on that. That's the sort of the newest family member. And also our valuation services team. So we have a small team in-house that you can outsource projects to, that you can also, where you can also just maybe get a second pair of eyes. Let's say, you're a one-man show, a one-woman show, or your analyst is on a holiday, or, you simply have too much work on your plate. You can use our team. You can outsource work to our team, and we'll help you. Now, we'd like to know more about you. So let's do a very quick poll where we will please like to better understand what your professional background is.
Okay, I've launched the poll. Hopefully everyone can see it answer. Okay.
And I think we can continue, right? We don't need to wait for the results. Max, you have been briefly introduced. Fair to say you've been an AI guy for a very long time, well ahead of the curve, many years. What's your take on that? Or maybe we haven't really given you a chance to introduce yourself. Maybe you want to add a few words about yourself before we jump into the topic.
Sure, of course. Let me talk a little bit about myself. So yeah, my name is Max. I'm actually one of the founders of Paraloq Analytics that was founded 6 years ago here in Vienna as a spin-off from the University of St. Gallen in Switzerland. When we started out 6 years ago, we had a little bit of a different focus. So back then, I was all about quantitative risk management. So we were building AI models, neural networks, to model risk parameters. It's a little bit of a different paradigm than what we have now. So it's not the category of generative AI, but it's also AI and it's also neural nets. And we were actually on the forefront of applying this technology to structured risk modeling. So that was before ChatGPT. That was when you still had to, do some GPU coding if you wanted to get a neural net to work. So that was when we started out. And then, of course, the big generative AI, Gen AI for short, right, wave started with ChatGPT hitting the market. Everyone was basically swept away by this technology and the capabilities when applying this neural net and artificial intelligence to text processing. And of course, we also were very interested in that topic, and we shifted a little bit away from the more structured modeling, so using neural nets for modeling, towards the application layer. So building applications that leverage this technology to tackle different problems in the financial industry. And we've worked with an array of customers also there. And then, and how did we end up here? Well, I think round about 1 year ago, right? Paul, if I remember correctly, it was 1.5 years ago. We started out building a project together. It's now called, and I think I can spill the tea now, Done Diligence. So it's a product we built together with Valutico for automating parts or semi-automating parts of due diligence or general analytical processes. And this partnership worked out so well that we decided to join forces, and here we are now. So yeah, that's it from my side for the introduction.
Great stuff. And Max, the topic of AI in general.
Yes.
What's your take? I mean, I think we all have the opinion that obviously it's an absolute game changer for everything we do, especially in our industry in financial services.
Yes.
But what's your take? How fast is it all happening?
Yeah, I mean, obviously you're asking an AI evangelist, so to speak, about this question. So I think but the numbers also they speak for themselves. So what you see here, we compiled 2 graphs. They're not the most recent numbers, right? So they're in the 2023 for the left one, which basically shows some benchmarks. So benchmarks are a way we use for evaluating the intelligence and the capability of generative AI models, so of AI models, so to speak. And what we can see here is that these capabilities, they basically went through the roof. So by now we have for specific sets of problems, right? We're not talking about a very general intelligence, but for very specific sets of problems, we have basically PhD level AI. So and also, I mean, it hits me. I'm also a PhD researcher at the University of St. Gallen. And I'm mesmerized over and over again if I'm having a deep conversation with the AI models, how well trained they are also in my very domain, which is econometrics, so applied statistics. So it doesn't stop with drafting emails, right? That's what I want to say here. And these capabilities, they accelerate even more. Models become better and better. And we also can see that reflected in the economic landscape. So if we look at the chart on the right side here on the screen, we can see basically is the money where the mouth is, right? So is also the investment following the hype? And the answer is yes. So there's a lot of investment money going into AI technology. This technology is very, very well funded. We also see that, of course, I mean, almost every day you see new announcements of major investments into this technology. So the short answer is, well, AI is not a hype. There is definitely some hype in AI, right? No, I don't want to say that nothing with AI is hyped. Of course, I mean, we're all plagued by the notorious LinkedIn posts, and we have 100 million AI specialists now and consultants everywhere. But that's just that's just part of the game, I think. But the technology as such is definitely transformational. And yeah, people like to refer to this kind of exponential transformation charts here. And also, some people might have the feeling that, well, this train is going so fast, it's too far off by now. It's taken off, and I'm too far behind. We don't think that that's the case. I don't think that that's the case. Actually, we think now is the sweetest moment to embrace this technology, to embrace this change, because we have a lot of tool set that's becoming more mature by now, right? So we're not in the early days anymore. We have found some very, very valuable ways to put AI to work. And this is also why we think that we are at the exact right moment to leverage this technology also for the financial industry, which is what we are doing.
And I think that brings me to our own, thoughts about AI and the rationale for the acquisition that we're talking about today. Max, you mentioned already, I mean, we started to work together, 3 years ago, I guess, and then probably a year and a half ago or so.
Yes.
Maybe some of you listeners, some of the audience have seen it in the news. The acquisition of Paraloq was announced, 2-3 months ago. I'm happy to report that it also closed 2 weeks ago. Some of the highlights, I mean, I don't think we need to go through it again. Max, you already highlighted some of these things. What I would like to emphasize again is just how much fun and also intellectually stimulating it has been for us to work with you and your team over the last 12 months. So we're extremely excited for the the joint future ahead. Welcome to the
Great,
team.
thanks a lot. Yeah, same of course goes for me. I guess it goes for me.
Some of the benefits. I mean, more AI-powered insights. That's I mean, if you want to call it that, the low-hanging fruit, right? We want to use the Paraloq technologies to provide insights for your, more quantitative analysis in Valutico now. I always talk, those who know me, I always talk about numbers and narrative, right? A good valuation, a good company analysis is always part numbers, part narrative. You can't have one without the other, right? Only if those two come together to tell a coherent story, that's when that's when the magic happens. That's when you get a good valuation. That's when you get a good analysis. And so at the core, this is what this is all about, right? Analyzing the narrative about the companies, right? Whether it's in the process of a due diligence, whether it's, analyzing news flow or sentiment on social media, basically everything that is not yet reflected in numbers and expressed in numbers. That's where the Paraloq technology comes in, and we want to bring this into Valutico. Well, that's the sort of how Valutico benefits from Paraloq. Obviously, also the other way around. Valutico is a relatively established company by now. We have a global, distribution team, sales team, customer success team around the world. And with the help of our teams, we also want to get the Paraloq technologies out to our clients and new clients much, much faster. Right? Thirdly, talent acquisition. We have built quite some muscle already in AI ourselves over the last years. We have great people on the team, but we think with the Paraloq acquisition, it will really lift us to another level in that respect. Very complementary skill sets here. So that has already worked very well. And also, by the way, culturally, I would also like to emphasize this, right? I mean, all these M&A transactions, acquisitions, mergers, they always, depend on cultural fit. And I think in this case, I've never been more confident about that. And I've done M&A for many, many years. So that's very, very positive. Innovation acceleration, that's an obvious one. We want to fast track the development of things we had already had on the roadmap, but for lack of resources, for lack of know-how and experience, we would have taken much, much longer time. Anything missing from that, guys, off the top of your heads? Nope.
No, I think you nailed it.
Very good. I mean, what does that mean in concrete next steps? And I won't spend too much time on this slide. Also, I don't want you guys to, come back and then say, where is this in 6 months? That's an indicative. I mean, every roadmap is indicative, but this one especially. But just a few highlights for the next 12 or 24 months. Well, I mentioned already that the acquisition closed 2-3 weeks ago. Q2, you guys rolled out the research flow feature. Too much for today to talk about it. Q4 is really when, or Q3 and Q4 is really when, a lot of the, first low-hanging fruits of the integration will be rolled out, right? Mutual login, single sign-on for the applications, document extraction, also more virtual data room features. That's an important one. We haven't done diligence with the intention of building a data room, but we very quickly realized that our clients expect that from us. The good thing is a lot of these features can be built quickly, and so that one you can actually hold us accountable for. We will deliver a lot more of these features in the next weeks and months. Q4 AI-powered presentations. That's an exciting one. If you're listening to this, get in touch with Max, have him show you an early, proof of concept of this. I don't want to spoil it too much, but AI-generated teasers and info memos might be, around the corner. And for those of you in M&A, that's obviously a big part of your work. I'll skip ahead. Another exciting one is a platform-wide chat interface. We think, and not just us, but the industry is convinced that the future will be conversational, right? We'll still have dashboards, but maybe the way we interact with tools will change, right? And so what we really want to have is also the option to sort of speak to your virtual AI analyst, if you want to call it that, control everything through a chat interface, a voice interface. Right, I'll stop myself right there. Max, anything you'd like to mention that I haven't mentioned yet?
Yeah, I just want to communicate my general excitement about this, I think, because it's really at the moment, it's the most exciting time to develop software for this industry. It's really, really amazing what we can do with the technology we have. And there's things, right, that just sound too good to be true. But I'm very, very confident that we will bring this to our customers. And I'm very, very excited for the feedback and for the value we're definitely going to create here.
Great stuff. So you mentioned excitement. What are you, the listeners, mostly excited about? Some of these things we just mentioned, some of them might be new. Let's give everyone a moment. And I think we should wait for the results of this one. I'm curious myself. Worth maybe waiting 30 seconds or a minute. Especially because we seem to be doing okay on time. So which AI advancements are you most excited about? Multiple choice possible. If there's more than one, let us know.
Alex, you want to share the results?
Yeah.
Very cool.
Ooh, okay, interesting. Huh? So what do I see here? Qualitative insights in valuation. No, automated industry research tops the list. Great. We haven't really talked about that, but that's coming very soon. Then I see financial table extraction. Working on that too. We actually, for those of you who are Valutico users, we launched a proof of concept of that feature actually already in, what was it, May or June? It's very well hidden when you're on the forecasting, business plan step. There is already a way to upload PDFs. Used to be only Excel spreadsheets. Now you can upload PDFs. Try it out. Might not work perfectly yet. Big improvements coming. But it's definitely saving you a lot of time. So the spreading of financial tables. And then I see qualitative insights in valuations. Love that too. I mean, that basically perfectly aligns with my own preferences. I enjoy seeing these confirmed. I hope you have the same understanding of this. And it's basically that we show you in the right place in your valuation additional infos. Let's say you're working on the beta factor of a company. I want to show you, or our platform wants to show you, insights that influence the risk, right? What the company might have done. Or let's say you work on the business plan, you're in the sales forecast. We want to show you, what drives sales or what might hurt sales. Big new customers coming or price pressure, right, in the industry or whatever it is. We want to give you these structured qualitative insights that can help you perform your analysis better. What else? Automated teaser IM generation, I see high up on the list too. Great. AI-powered peer and transaction recommendations. I would have thought that would rank higher, but I think we made great improvements there already recently. AI-powered cash flow forecasts. Yeah. So very useful. Alex, we're saving that, right? We can reuse these insights.
Yeah.
I don't need to take a
That's
screenshot.
right.
Great stuff.
Nice.
As usual, by the way, please let us know if you have any preferences, if there's something you would like to see in Valutico. Our CSM team is always there to help. And, if you shout loud enough, we'll make sure we'll rank it higher on the roadmap. Good. Well, connected to that topic, predictions in finance and AI innovation. We sort of looked beyond, our own little world, and also wanted to find out what others are working on, and we grouped this into 3 categories, and that's data, that's automations, and that's risk. Now we start with data. I mean, this is a very high level view based on a 1-hour presentation we did in March. But just a few highlights where we see AI innovation happening in finance. The seamless collection of company data. I think we just saw that also in what you're interested in, right? Spreading of PDFs and other formats, getting, translating between different formats, making it, accessible in structured formats. That's definitely something that a lot of people are working on. Data ingestion. So we'd also like you to be able to, import data from your accounting system, your client's accounting system, from an ERP system. Hey guys, you jump in if you want to add something. Otherwise, I'll go through this fairly quickly. Real-time market intelligence, or generally market intelligence. Obviously, when you run, valuation analysis, due diligence, benchmarking, you need insights and you need to be able to compare to others. That's a large part of what we do at Valutico, right? We give you access to financial information, industry information, and also macroeconomic data at the click of a button. And the prospect of doing that in real time is something that I find really exciting. And also the idea of being able to update, in real time, having a real-time valuation for your company, your client's company. Interesting times, I think, ahead, especially when you consider, the growing importance of private markets, where, you don't have a share price like in public markets, but, maybe you have a sort of analytical process in the future to get to some sort of fair value and make, private markets even more efficient. Max, I think the third one is one that you would probably be very interested in: alternative data sources.
Yeah, I mean, I have to say in
right?
general,
Mhm.
yeah, 100%. All these topics: data ingestion, data structuring, large scale, data processing. It's something, of course, we're very interested in. And maybe just to give you a feeling for how this problem and the acceleration of technology is presents itself from my side. It was 3 years ago, we had it was 4 years ago, and we had a large project with a large consulting firm where we were developing a system to extract at scale structured data from unstructured documents. And that was a project that took a lot of resources, a lot of effort to consolidate these numbers, and a lot of really, really heavy engineering work. Because most of you, we've heard this promise of AI data extraction for over 10 years now. It's always a promise to us, yeah, just drag and drop your PDF and then everything will be extracted as is and it will be perfect. And it never really happened, right? Because it was just such a hard problem. And it sounds easy, and you have these models that are very intelligent, but the data when it comes to exact data extraction, right? You need to be correct. It's not so easy as it sounds, but the problem is getting easier and easier to solve. And I think we're actually finally 10 years in, after the AI promise, we're going to see some real results here. So
Very
that's
good.
what makes me excited here, because we're really able to build this.
I think it makes our listeners even more excited, especially the maybe more junior ones who still have to do that kind of work, copying from PDF into what I wasted most of my junior career on. Right?
Yeah.
So good if that's finally done by the machines. Second big category, risk. Automating due diligence. We'll show you a little demonstration in about 5 minutes or so when Alex finally takes the stage. What this is about is that we want to help you unveil risk through for example, our qualitative assessment, as we call it in Valutico, right? And the big topic here: transforming qualitative insights into quantitative measures, right? That's the big challenge. It's connected to a bit to what we talked about earlier about the insights, right? I want insights, qualitative insights that help me drive my quantitative analysis. Sounds abstract, we'll show you. Predictive analytics for cash flow forecasting and cost of capital. That's something a lot of people are working on right now. How can you use historic information about a company and also current information, qualitative as well as quantitative, to better predict cash flows in the future, and connected to cash flows also risk, right? The valuation people here on the call will know risk in valuation terms is essentially the volatility of these cash flows, and having better ways to model that will lead to better forecasts and then also to better valuations. And also to mention here, simulation-based approaches. It's something I've been talking about for many years. That the technology maybe was there, but nobody found a good way to do this in a way that is also user friendly, right? And we're also seeing some interesting developments there. Maybe some, for example, so even ideas to get rid of the capital asset pricing model altogether and replacing it through a risk measure directly, derived from the cash flow volatility. Now, enough valuation bingo. Not everyone's in valuation, so I'll move on. I do get excited about this, so if that's of interest to you, write me an email. Yeah, and thirdly, ESG as a risk assessment framework. Now, I think ESG is at a crossroads, right? Large parts of the world have sort of abandoned the idea of ESG. Too early to tell if that's good or bad. But what we would like to point out and how we see ESG is not something that's connected to corporate do-goodery, right? But really, we understand ESG as a resilience mechanism, right? As a framework to assess a company's resilience, right? If a company has a good E-score, right, then, whatever, if it's an oil company, then, it means it shouldn't have a big oil spill anytime soon, right? And that should be good for, earnings and for volatility, and that should drive valuation. Just to give you one very concrete example. Could we go? No, I think we've covered it. Anything to add on the risk topic, guys?
Yeah, maybe one comment from my side. So we also have that, of course, on the roadmap for due diligence. We have a lot of AI-powered processes in place, for example, when it comes to physical risk, right? So of course, we're also interested in if you ended up a company where the physical assets of this company located might be located in a zone that's at danger of flooding, wildfire, stuff like that. So that's also something we're focusing on with AI technology.
Mm-hmm. And I think on the automation front, Max, you want to continue with the AI agents?
Yes, happy to. So let's start with AI agents. Buzzword mania incoming. So short warning here. So you might have heard about AI agents. So AI agents, that's basically a very buzzword term by now. It's also hyped up a lot, I think. What is an AI agent? Basically, a little primer, maybe an AI model, a generative AI model such as ChatGPT. In general, is only able to give text, right? It produces text. It takes text as input and it produces text as output. That's how these models work. And when this technology started off, we had these chatbots. You were able to ask questions and you would get just a text answer back. From there, we found clever ways to get more than just plain text from the models by making the models call or use tools. All right. So a tool could, for example, be a calculator, because one funny enough, these models are really bad at doing math. All right. So if you ask a model some kind of arithmetic question, chances are very high that the answer is wrong, and wrong by a lot. So what people started to do was, well, let's hook up this AI to a calculator and just give it the possibility to use this calculator, right? And then this idea expanded. People started hooking up whole code interpreters. AI started to write code that would be executed. People started to hook up like Google Drive or other tools. And this gave rise to this AI agents. So AI agents are basically models that have access to tools, to software in a way that is very similar way that humans would use this software. And they are able to use this software autonomously, so they can decide themselves when they want to use the software, when they want to use these tools in order to complete the tasks that they were assigned. So now, why is this important? We believe that, of course, AI agents are a large part of the AI future. But these agents are always just as good as the tooling they have available, right? I just brought the idea of the calculator. Now, a calculator is all nice and stuff, but if you want to do a company valuation just with an analog calculator, maybe, well, that's not going to work out too well. You need something more powerful, right? You need a more powerful tool there. And that's why we also think that this combination of Valutico and AI is very, very powerful, because we now have the ability to give an AI agent such a powerful tool for company valuation, like Valutico, for example. So that's, of course, what we think AI agents are going to be a large part of the AI future, specifically. Then we have the recommender systems. That's also one big topic, I think, for valuation, right? You have the peer search algorithms there. There's also a lot of AI technology involved there, right? We're working on that also actively. It's a little bit of different technology, but also big improvements are done there. Yeah, and then of course we have a big one for us, at least. That's where we put a lot of resources in. It's enhanced visualization reports. So that's when we think about how can we, we use AI to compile a lot of information, high quality information, high quality analysis. How can we get it into a presentable format that's actually deliverable, right? We want to have that analysis basically wrapped up in a nice presentation. And that's what we're also developing at the moment. So we are developing AI agents that will help you create presentations, create reports, Word files, you name it, Excel files, the output, the deliverable that you need to get your work basically done. That's what we are also investing a lot of time in. And I think this will also be a great time saver in the future.
Okay, well, thank you very much for this outlook. And for those of you who have a few more minutes, we want to show you something really interesting, because when we started to, have these acquisition talks with Max and his team a few months ago, and we, started to do due diligence on the project, we basically had two competing work streams. One was the traditional one. We hired a bunch of advisors, legal and tax and financial and so on, to look at basically everything at Paraloq Analytics, right, the legal entity. But then we, of course, also use the tool we just built together to do the same. And the outcome was really interesting, but I don't want to give away too much. I guess you can imagine what the outcome was. But Alex, you want to talk a bit more about that little experiment, that little competition we had?
Perfect, definitely. So the story was we hired accountants, we hired a legal team, we hired advisors, and we did the DD the classical way. Yeah, and it took them around about 2.5 months. Yeah, to go through the DD and send us the red flag report. Afterwards, we took the same data and we tried everything with our own tool, done diligence, and we were able to find the same results within hours. So without further ado, I will show you the tool. Because we are a little bit late on time, I will give a short introduction to due diligence. But then obviously, as Alex mentioned, we will be sending out an email and offer everyone 2 weeks of free access to the tool. You can also reach out to our team if you want to have a customized onboarding and talk about due diligence together with us. Perfect. Let me do a quick introduction. So we are in the main tool now, and there are 2 sections. The first section is called our template section. And here we worked with, so in total, Valutico, we're working with around about 400 M&A advisors. So we asked them, what's your typical process? They told us they're working with questionnaires. They have a questionnaire for the commercial deed, for the legal DD, and so on. And a couple of dozens of these M&A advisors also shared this questionnaire with us. So we talked about industry research, so maybe I'll take the commercial DD questionnaire really quick so you get an overview. So a questionnaire then would take typical questions like the market analysis, the market sizing, the competitive landscape, and so on. A very, very interesting insight that we got when we developed this with our clients was they want to use AI, but a lot of times they don't know how to interact. And this is called prompting. I think it's a common term by now. And the prompting is basically your instructions to the AI. What we did together with Max is we took these tasks and our tool does this for you. So you can see a question here. It talks about the market analysis. Here's the question. Please analyze the addressable markets. And the bottom part is the interesting part where you find the instructions to our AI, which already generated for you. So you can be very specific what you want. Our system learned from DDs from the past, and you can also specify the outcomes. So you can say, please summarize your findings in a table view. Please generate a graph. Please make the answer very short. Please give me a summary of the answer at the end. So you can read it and also tailor-made these instructions to your needs. Obviously, there's more to talk about it here, but maybe the last point is if you already have your own templates, you can also upload your templates, and within a minute, it will be transformed in our structured data and also creates the prompts for you. Even though there are no prompts in there, we will do the prompting for you for your questionnaires automatically.
So to repeat that, Alex, I'm an M&A advisor, I'm a valuation expert, because by the way, this is not just for M&A, right? If I do a valuation, I still have to look at, all these aspects of a company, right? But
Yes.
so let's say I have my question list in a spreadsheet, I have it in an Excel format, whatever it is, I can upload it and the system will read that and convert it.
Exactly. I think there's another really powerful thing. If you already have a final outcome that you want to replicate and you want to create the questionnaire based on that, you can also upload your final outcome and our system will create a questionnaire how to get to this final outcome. This is a feature that has been used by many of our new clients and they are amazed by the outcome. Yeah. So questionnaire parts, we create templates, we create these questionnaires. And the next step is that we are creating a project. So we create a test project here, which we a beverage company in the UK. They also launched in Austria. So we take this as an example where we also put in some fake data. For the first logical step is a virtual data room that's included with due diligence. So you drag and drop your files, all the data that you have, you simply drag and drop here, and then it's saved with us. We were just tested 2 weeks ago by a large bank, and we were among the top 1 most secure companies that they ever tested. So rest assured, the data is yours, the data stays yours. We don't use your data for any kind of training purposes or anything. So yeah, we are completely secure and compliant here. The next step after you fill your data room is to go to the questionnaires and you create a new questionnaire. We wanted to take a look at the commercial DD one. Here it is. So we use the commercial DD questionnaire. And now one of my favorite features really quick is you can then also adjust this questionnaire. So what the M&A advisor, like all the clients that we talked to, the financial advisors that we talked to, was they have the standard questionnaire, but they need to adjust it every time. So you can simply say, please adjust the industry. You customize. And the whole questionnaire will be adjusted in a second. And you can see now all the questions and the descriptions have been adjusted to the beer industry.
And that's more than just putting beer industry in the text, right, Alex? It also changes the questions. It might add questions, might remove questions that are simply not suitable to the beer industry.
Exactly that. Super powerful feature.
What I've done recently is I've started with a blank blank questionnaire, and just had the system create a completely new one for me based on the industry and the company and the majority of the company and the country. I found the results spectacular.
Perfect. When you're happy
let that
with
sink in, right? You have never done due diligence before. You have no questionnaires to work with, right? And these are usually the secret sauce, right, of everyone. These questionnaires. You can ask a system to create a DD questionnaire for you.
Fully agree. If you're happy with the questions, you can then select which questions you want to answer, and you click evaluate. And now what will happen is our system, first of all, scrapes the virtual data room. And second, it also scrapes the whole World Wide Web for any additional information. So I already prepared the answer. So usually this will take around about 15 minutes to half an hour, depending on how many questions are in. And what you can see here are the answers that have been generated by our system. There are a couple of things that you will notice immediately. Yeah. So the first thing that you will notice is every factual statement also provides you the source where our system found this data. There's a term with AI called hallucination. Basically, it means sometimes AIs invented data, they gave you wrong things. And we want to protect this by always giving you the source. So these are documents from the data room, but also the links from public sources. And the second point, and Max, I'm still amazed by how you solved this and how you explained this to me, is basically LLMs were trained to give you answers, and they were rewarded by giving you answers. But rewarding answers also rewarded giving wrong answers. And correct me if I'm wrong, but how you trained our system is if the system is not 100% sure, or there is conflicting data, like 2 different revenue numbers, instead of providing a wrong answer, our system creates a task. And these tasks then shows what informations are missing. So for example, here, competitive landscape. Yeah. So in the documents in the virtual data room, there was not enough information. On the web, it didn't find enough reliable data. So instead of inventing things, we are creating a task. So you can go back to your client saying, please, let's discuss this, give me more information about this. Then you can assign this task to one of your colleagues, find it out, re-upload the information, and get the new answers in.
Exactly. So we have this, as you mentioned, this solution in place, basically to take in two problems at the same time, which I think is really nice way. So on the one side, we give you a nice way to structure your process, right, and to also manage your teammates, the whole team, all the stakeholders in the process, by assigning tasks and having these tasks move through a Kanban board that we provide you also for the tasks. And on the other hand, we also tackle this problem of hallucinations, because what you can think of as why do these hallucinations come into existence? That's because these models, Alex, as you mentioned, they're trained to give you an answer basically all the time, and they're only rewarded if they give you an answer. So they will lie to you. They will happily lie to you and say, yeah, well, that's my answer here, and they will make it sound really good, because if it doesn't sound plausible, they will also punished in the training. So what we do, we don't task the model with give me an answer, but we just slightly alter the task we give to the model. We say, well, please give me an answer if you can, but I'm just as happy with the task. Right? So please do one of these equally good. And that really helped, and also showed in our benchmarks and our internal hallucination benchmarks really helped preventing these hallucinations.
I'm still amazed by the solution. You can obviously export everything into Word. As Max and Paul mentioned, we're also working on better PowerPoint presentations at the moment, executive summaries, maybe in the future also more reports. But yeah, I think for today, that's enough. We really would like you to try the tool out and give us feedback, get in touch with us. Yeah, Paul, you want to maybe summarize what we're doing?
Yeah, before we get there, Max, anything the tool didn't discover? Anything that's still hidden we should know about? Nobody's listening.
Well, might be, but I'm not gonna disclose that here now.
Very good. Great stuff. Yeah, I mean, to summarize, I mean, I think we covered most of the points already, but you know, it massively speeds up your process, right? Alex mentioned 15-20 minutes, you have a full DD, right? And that would take you otherwise weeks and tens of thousands of euros at least. Most cases, hundreds of thousands or more. It can also help you achieve greater accuracy, because with all the, you know, the time savings, you can really drill down into certain aspects, you know, more deeply, and get to even better results. That's, I think, what I just mentioned, right? You can focus your efforts, right? It simplifies the collaboration, right? We saw that really nice task feature where you can, you know, delegate between team members, work collaboratively. We're also launching a Q&A tool soon, by the way, that should also help that and further make this, you know, even more collaborative. Cost savings are obvious, right? Although we wouldn't normally phrase it that way, right? We want you to do twice the work or 10 times the work with the same costs, same resources. Yeah, and then finally, it can really help you scale effortlessly, and also the adoption. So it's as quick as uploading a few templates, a few questionnaires that you already have, right? So we can.
Yeah, just maybe from my side, also want to really emphasize this. We're working hard to make the adoption of this technology as easy as possible for you, and not force you to change your processes, but we really try to take what we see and facilitate this process as is.
Good. Then we have another question for you. Of everything you've just heard and some more things, what would excite you most about done diligence and the VDR function? By the way, VDR, done diligence, for us, it's all one thing, right? We fundamentally rethought, you know, how due diligence and VDRs work. So there's no distinction for us anymore.
Max, we showed this to many of our clients. The question that I often get is, which LLM are we using? Do you maybe want to take? I think that's the number one question I get.
Yeah, it's a good question, actually. So the answer is not just one, but an array of models. So, you know, the landscape is evolving rapidly. Models are released all the time, basically. So there's really no choosing one model and then sticking to it. Instead, what we do is we have a rather complex orchestration of several AI agents, right? We've had the term earlier. And each of these tasks, these AI agents, is using different models for different tasks. So we are using models that were developed by Anthropic. We are using models that were developed by Google. But always, and this is also important to mention, we only use models that are hosted, and your data is always processed within the European Union. So no data leaves the European Union or our trusted primary cloud provider. No data is sent to OpenAI or Anthropic whatsoever. Everything is processed here.
Thank you very much. So agnostic as long as we are compliant.
Exactly.
Very cool.
So just briefly, the poll results have come in. AI-powered red flag detection, 62%. I hope that helps prioritize that feature.
Yes.
Definitely.
Speed, time savings on target reviews. Automated document analysis. I think we sort of already covered that. Customizable diligence checklists. I guess we have that too. Risk categorization and summaries. Yeah, I think that's also connected to the red flag topic. Collaboration tools for deal teams. And then other, if you clicked other, feel free to get in touch with us. Let us know what you meant by that. But super helpful again to help us prioritize what to build. Now, for those of you who stuck around for so long, a few, and I mean, this was announced as a 30-minute one, so I think we must have caught your attention. But we have a few last minute, or sorry, a few, well, checklist items. Max, you want to cover these? So do you want me to go on?
Actually, I think given the amount of time we have left, what I want to do is I want to send one strong message, okay? Because I think that a lot of, it's also including me as I'm doing a lot of code development with my team, and I think everyone basically in any industry is overwhelmed by the progress we see, right? And there's been a lot of tooling published a year ago, 2 years ago maybe. There will be a lot of tooling published 1 year in the future. But what I really want to emphasize is that I think right now is the perfect time to embrace these changes and to embrace these technological breakthroughs, because it was 1 year ago, to be honest, I think it was too early, right? We didn't have the maturity of the tools we needed. Right now, I think it's the perfect time to embrace these technologies, be it with us, of course. I think that's the safe bet. But important message, I think right now is the right time to embrace this technology.
Very good.
Right, now summary, Max.
Good closing words.
That's it from my side. Yes, thank you. Again, in my role as an AI evangelist.
Good. Maybe some have just stayed on the call for the free trial. Here it is also in the form of a QR code. So if you take a photo of this, if you point your phone at this, well, I guess everyone knows how QR code works by now. You can get. Oh, go ahead. Yes.
We got a couple of questions, I think, that we maybe can do in 3 minutes. Does the intelligence also search the web? Yes, it does. So it analyzes the whole World Wide Web and the virtual data room.
And when we say the World Wide Web, that includes things such as LinkedIn, Glassdoor, social media. Right? Yeah. And there's, I think, also worth mentioning, we're also planning to add additional behind the paywall content in the future, so that you can also hopefully subscribe to your news source of choice, and then you can also consume that data via Done Diligence.
Very good.
Great question, Fabio. Thank you for that.
Is Done Diligence targeted at sellers and advisors or buyers?
Can I cover that one?
Please.
I think it's a great one.
Good.
Why do I think it's such a great question? Well, because there are different use cases, right? For a buyer, it's fairly obvious, right? Whether you're, M&A buy-side advisor, or you're a corporate, or you're a private equity fund or a venture capital fund, you want to get to, you want to do your due diligence very efficiently, and it's typically pre-deal due diligence, right? Because for compliance reasons, you might now still want to employ a whole team when it gets to the actual deal. But very often you want to have a first assessment before it gets to a deal, right? When you're working on your indicative bid, when your first round bid, when you're looking at potential targets, when you're preparing something for your board, you want to come in with a first risk assessment. So that's the case on the buy side, but there is also a strong case on the sell side. So what we see our clients do is helping their clients prepare for an eventual exit or a fundraise, basically getting them due diligence ready, right? And with Done Diligence, it's never been easier. because you essentially invite them to done diligence. You create a project for them. You ask them to just upload everything they have. And then you let the questionnaires run over that data. And you can then, basically the system creates tasks and tells you or your clients exactly which data is missing. You can even create a questionnaire to identify duplicates, right? Very often, if you're on the sell side, very often people upload too much stuff, right? Redundant stuff that shouldn't be in the data room. So you can also use it to, remove that. So to summarize, very, very strong cases for both the buyers and the sellers.
Very good. I think we had this question twice. Perfect. Then we have the topic about PDF to Excel. We have clients with 16,000 customers, and each client has a contract. Can we get a summary of these contracts? Max, I think this is a topic that we two discussed. Do you want to take it?
Yeah, definitely. We have this in the roadmap also. So at the moment, this scales structured data extraction. We plan to launch that in Q3 actually. So this year for sure, because this is something we see also a lot of value in, right? So basically, we're talking about structured data extraction at scale. And this is something you will be seeing coming to the product. Right now, we are shipping done diligence with a virtual data room, so that's available as we speak. And this data room we will augment with this capability. So all these documents, in that case, this 16,000 customer contracts, right? They will be ingested and they will be kept at the ready for any kind of AI analysis that will come down the road. So then you are able to actually ad hoc afterwards extract data at scale from these documents.
I mean, I'm looking forward to check our own clients' contracts.
Yeah, 100%.
I mean, we've got 800 with 800, it would probably already work with the current technology, right? If I understand correctly, the issue arises with very, very large data sets.
The issue arises with very large data sets, but also, of course, we want the performance of this. We just want to have a dedicated, structured process when it comes to extracting data at scale from the data room in a structured format that you can, for example, pull in Excel for you to review.
I'll take the next one. Michael is asking, well, I think we already covered that. Done diligence VDR is for buyers. Is that correct? No, I think it's for both. I think that was probably asked before we answered that. Trevor is asking, can you point done diligence at one of the commercial data room products such as Ansarada, Intralinks, etc.? That's an interesting one, also strategically for us. We love for this to be possible. Now, these big providers, they usually treat their ecosystems as sort of closed ecosystems, right? So they don't really like to let anyone in. But, we're building our own data room. So maybe you don't even need to, pay whatever, 10, 20,000, whatever it is to one of these big providers anymore. I mean, we're even thinking about making our VDR totally free. Oops, did I just say that? I probably shouldn't have said that. Because we don't want to make money with the data room, right? We want you to we want to charge if we deliver an actual service such as due diligence or valuation, or such things. But if the opportunity arises that we can also connect to these big ones, sure. I mean, obviously we want to do that. The simple solution right now is to just download from the other data room, re-upload into Valutico. So that's a very easy workaround.
Incredible.
And then one more question from an anonymous attendee. When will the data room with Valutico be available again? I would like to move current DD running on Drooms and DataSite into Valutico. Great. It's already up and running.
Good news.
Yeah, good news. A few features here and there that you might be missing. I can only encourage you, have a look at what it does now. It's a basic data room, and these additional VDR features that you might have come to expect from other providers. We're building them in the next weeks and months.
Very good. I think that concludes the session. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you very much, and thank you for staying on the call so much longer.
Yeah, thanks a lot also from my side, but great.
Great to have you in the call, Max.
Thank you so much, guys.
Bye-bye.